Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Sounds from the Cellar, hosted by the Olive Tree Madmen. Today we got another Podling for you. These are mini episodes that introduce you guys to the members of the band. Next up, Colin Smith.
How you doing, Colin?
I'm doing great. Doing great, guys. It's another day to prove some excellence here with my Olive Tree Madmen buddies.
The work never ends.
Isn't that right?
Cohorts.
That's right.
We played here last night.
Yep.
As we do every
Crazy
Monday.
night. Crazy night.
It was a
last
crazy night last night.
Really
Very
packed.
packed.
People were singing.
Yeah.
As has become the usual these
Yes.
days.
Yeah. It's been busy, and if you haven't been here, outside of being in another state or another country, why haven't you been here and come down? But do make a reservation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because you might not get in without the reservation
This
these
is really
days.
true. It is really true.
So,
Yeah.
Ireland.
Inside jokes, people.
Are you from there?
I am from Ireland, yeah.
Yeah.
What gave it away? You're like, the drinking. The drinking, motherfucker, and the fondness for chips.
Well, so wait, all jokes aside,
Yeah.
how long ago did you get here from?
I got to America, well, I moved here in 2000. My very first time putting feet on these shores was in 99 with my old band, MrNorth. When we came over here to conquer America.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Tap into America. Yeah. We came over, we had a young American manager who saw us over in Ireland and Italy and was wanted to bring us over to get signed. And we put boots on the ground properly in 2000. And we did get signed. We got a publishing
Wasn't
deal.
that band like with your cousins or something?
It was with my cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, two brothers, Oisin and Emmett. Yeah. My first cousins once removed. Their mom was my cousin. And I actually didn't meet them until I was 15. My family has this like the age thing in my family with the generations is pretty crazy. Like when I was a kid, I had a 60-year-old cousin. And it's because like my grandmother had a span of kids, you know, like I guess over the span of her fertile years had like children from then to then, you know?
Prolific.
Prolific, but like, you know, meaning that like, you know, her first child's first kids would have been very different to her last child's last kid, who was me, and I was a very late kid of the latest kid.
Got it.
So, yeah.
So anyway, so you come over here with your quasi-family band in 2000?
Yeah, in 2000, yeah. And, yeah, it was our mission to get signed, and we got signed to a publishing deal within 3 months to Warner Chapel. And then that deal helped us move over, kind of legally have visas, performers visas. And so we didn't have to do the 90-day thing, which, you know, you guys are Americans, but I'm sure you've had friends who've only been able to stay in the country so long before, you know, they get run out of the place. Yeah. So
we got Sergio here today. He just crossed the border.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Sergio.
So yeah, and then you know, so we kind of worked on the craft of songwriting and recording and building up a fan base here. We played in a lot of bars, a lot of Irish bars to pay the rent and to just, you know, sharpen our irons in terms of playing live and all that.
Back in 1999, New York, when you could pay the rent by playing at Irish bars.
I think you can. I think you still can, just maybe a further out rent. Right. But yeah, so like 2000, 2001, and then we got signed in 2002 and made a major label record with Talking Heads legend Jerry Harrison.
Maybe you heard of him?
Maybe you heard of him. At the time, he had come off some pretty big successes. He produced that big live record, the one that we played a song off there last week, and also No Doubt. And
he did a No Doubt record?
Yeah.
Oh, which one? Not Tragic.
Not Tragic. No, the one after. He did some songs on it, maybe if not everything, off the one after that.
Love No Doubt.
They're great.
But yeah, we made a record with him, and then that was the time that the record industry was the first like real. If it was a climate emergency, it was the real sea levels rising in terms of the ramifications of like how the record industry was going to shrink.
Is this because Napster,
yeah.
LimeWire, iTunes,
all of those things,
LimeWire.
you know, it was the start of the change of the culture in terms of like how finance was going to work in music industry. There, you know, the music industry was here in New York, you know, also in other places, LA as well, but it's not here anymore. It was then, like, you know, they had their offices here and they had VPs and presidents of A&R and all that. A lot of signing was happening out of New York. But yeah, so that's like 2002. So we were like, what was I saying? Yeah, we made the record, and the record company was trying to figure out the record, how it would work. But at the same time, forces greater than all of us were happening, and it was shrinking. And so RCA, who we were signed to, merged with Sony BMG. And so whenever, you know, mergers happen, there's a big bloodletting of roster and staff. So the guy that signed us lost his job, and the VP, like the vice president of RCA, lost his job, and like about half the roster was cleared, and so were we.
It's fucking brutal when you think about it.
He's like,
You're like, call the guy. You're like, the guy doesn't work there anymore. You're like, oh.
Yeah. But it was also like, you know, truth be told, it was hard to be confident with our record and the way we were at the time. I think there's a lesson in it, in that we were so focused on getting signed and ticking boxes and dotting I's and crossing T's, because you're always getting told, like, you know, well, you know, you've got to be like this, don't be a bit like this. And we weren't bully ourselves in terms of, like, you know, real artists are the ones that go, yeah, fuck off.
You guys 20 though? I mean, how old?
We were 25, 26, something like that. This was at the time of the Strokes, and the Strokes just like were on our label too. And they just blew the scene wide open, and so did like bands of their ilk, because it was just, you know, new metal had been around for a while, the end of the 90s, the way that was, pop and blah, blah, blah. So when the Strokes came around, it was just such a breath of fresh air of actual coolness, like real coolness, very original sound, even though it was so retro, the way they were making that record, you know, and their style and everything. It was authentic, it was real, it was like romantically cool, like East Village, New York. And we just weren't. Like, you know, we were like this, you know, trying to be this, trying to be that, blah, blah, blah. And so by the time that the record deal didn't work out, and we eventually moved on to making our second record, that was really when we started to say, oh, well, fuck this. Fuck's trying to please everybody.
If it doesn't work anyway, might as well just be ourselves.
Right. And so then instead of spending $300,000 on a record, or $350,000, I think it was, that is okay. I mean, a lot of people love it. I don't mean to diss the record. I just personally, it doesn't do a lot for me. I don't listen to that record anymore. But our subsequent records, when we were independent and we were making them by ourselves, to me are real deals. They're like
that first beautiful. Record cost $350,000.
Yeah,
that's what the label wanted to pay on it and everything.
No, wanted to pay. That's what
Studio
major
time.
Label budgets were at the time. Like paying a producer like
$350,000
back then.
Back then.
So you think about that now, and you know. It's still a lot of money now, but back then, you know?
Yeah. How long was MrNorth together?
19 years, I believe.
So from what, 99 to?
92 to 2011.
Got it. And I've seen some amazing YouTube videos of you guys doing stadiums and
orchestra.
Yeah,
just incredible. Was that was in the independent era or in the
so like the stadium stuff were kind of the independent area, because we opened up for a lot of big acts. You know, we were signed to publishing with Warner Chappell and RCA for a record label, and we were with William Morris, and we had one of the big agents in there. Like, you know, she had us, but notably she also had like Roger Waters, Tom Petty, fucking, you know, she with Frank Barcelona back in the time used to have U2 for like 20 years, and you know, she was on the U2 thing from jump, from their first like New York gigs at the Mud Club and stuff like that, I believe, if I'm not getting that mixed up. But yeah, so we opened up for like Van Halen and The Who and lots of like a Journey.
Maybe,
Bryan Adams
maybe you
and
heard of
stuff
him.
like that. May, yeah. And
Did you guys
so,
play Wetlands?
do we what?
Did you play Wetlands? Wetlands?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
no. But we played a lot of sheds, and we played like some Lollapaloozas and Bonnaroo and stuff like that.
I remember you telling me that you would write songs together in that band, and sometimes you would write things that you wanted, but the band, there was like resistance in the band, and those are the kinds of songs you might write today. I mean,
Right.
I remember you saying something along those lines.
Well, yeah. So, like, in MrNorth, we had a cool culture, I must say, of how we would write our stuff. Like, I might come in with an idea for a song, or Oisin might come in with an idea for a song, but a lot of the time we came in with kind of no ideas and loved it because we would just start playing, and songs would grow out of that. And so that was our vibe, and it led us kind of in a very natural way to have a sound. We didn't really have to force a sound because it was just, the song grew out of, just like magma. But yeah, so I wrote a few songs like at a certain stage, and they were a bit more singer-songwritery, folky kind of. And I remember being really happy with one, and I did a little demo while we were on the road. I was staying with some dude, Jack, I think was his name, nice kid, and then I played it to them in the band. They were like, eh. And I really loved the song, and it's a very popular song.
It's so sad when that happens.
It's a very popular song amongst like people who like my solo catalog kind of thing, and I knew it was a worthwhile and kind of, for lack of a better word, important song in terms of my development there. So that was kind of a writing on the wall for me. I was
like maybe I need to break away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Being such a, well, we all know you, but you're very stickler.
Stickler, yeah.
Not stickler.
Stickler.
Very testicular. You're very much a stickler on how things are done, how we prepare. What techniques do you use to prepare on your own for a performance?
Well, it's a really good question because it speaks to the core. Like, some people ask me like, "Oh, do you teach singing and stuff?" I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing in terms of like sing. I mean, I do, but only because I've had to learn a bit of technique in my later life, to preserve the voice, or as it changes, and utilize it better, more kind of economically.
But you've never been a big practicer, right?
I've never been a big
You've
practicer.
Been kind of intuitive.
Yes,
like you just kind of have it.
Well, like being in a band for many years where you're playing like 6-7 nights a week.
That is the practice.
That's the practice.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
So like with people ask, do you teach singing? And I was like, not technically, no. I need the lessons when it comes to technique. I need my ears open to pick up, that stuff. But if I were to teach something and kind of organize myself, what I feel I do have something to share with is, interpretation and putting a song across and like being in a song. And so how I prepare, well, really life prepares you, and being serious about being a singer and being kind of laying yourself open to the slings and arrows of like, of being a vulnerable person on the mic. That gets you to a place of having to consider how you're doing it. So, I try not to put my thumb on the scales. I try not to like force an outcome. I try to let whatever the truth is inside come out. The truth of how I'm relating to the subject matter. If it's the Irish song and stuff like that, there's a song of unrequited love. But also it's not just me feeling that story. I'm feeling the whole song. So I'm feeling like, like how that, what that whole piece is, the music. Like I always say, I hunt, melodies that are also saying what the lyric is saying, because there's an emotion, there's a story in the way a melody goes, and like there's turns in that. So I let that affect me, and then I let the audience see that.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
So, you know, with actors, there's this divide between method actors, I guess, people that really almost try to inhabit the role and feel like they are the person, and they're still inhabiting that character when the camera shuts off. And then there's the people that just show up and they're like, this is a job, I do the job. And then the second the camera is off, you know, you're
chilling.
You're totally, you're back to normal.
themselves.
Do you, I guess my question is, you're really good at inhabiting the songs you're singing. Do you feel like it's a method style, or do you, and what happens if you're actually not feeling in the mood of a particular song?
So it's kind of Teflon that way, because the method is being 100% me. That's what I'm saying. I'm not thumbing the scales. I'm not trying to be some extra version or some version that is not me. It'd be the same as if we're having a conversation here, and we've all had conversations, and I can get like real serious, somber, focused in the conversation. It's just a version of that there. So like, you know, you can tell if I'm being guarded, if I don't want to get into it. That's not really an option up there. I'm not going to be guarded. Not getting into it is not an option.
Right.
So whatever wherever the place, whatever the coordinates emotionally of that song is, my job is to be there. And with the, you know, with that, and married with the experience musically and choices and things like that, and, you know, whatever skill, wherewithal, you know, in terms of the execution of the thing, that's really it. That's where I got to be.
I want to try something and put you on the spot.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you write on the spot? So if I said
Okay.
the key of E flat,
Sure.
and you wrote about the picture in the frame, could you say, I'm going to come up with something and write something about that? You tell maybe Nick what key you in.
Girl in the picture, looking at me. Look in her eyes and I wonder, what is it that she sees? Is it me? Oh. Oh, hand in the face, worries in our mind. Guess I know how she feels from time to time, time to time. Time ain't mine. Time ain't mine.
Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it.
Time ain't mine. Maybe I could.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Killing.
Well done. Well done.
I guess it's
All
time.
right.
Yeah.
Can we play some
Okay,
music?
cool.
Let's play a song.
It's a different kind of Saturday now. Yeah, man, you wouldn't recognize me. A ways away from the days up in Washington Heights. Yeah, I'm far from the maddening crowd. To be honest, it's kinda how I like it. The girls got me on a tight leash, but that's alright. And I said, hey man, you know it's my birthday. I hope you can make it, it lands on a Thursday. There's gonna be cake and we'll get you out early and safely home to your wife. But it's okay, you know I understand. what God can do to best laid plans. Call me anytime for a drink, I'm always about. I'll say your hellos to the band. Truthfully, you got what I want, man. I ain't getting any younger, there's no doubt. At least I know what to wish for when I blow the candles out. Started thinking about who to call next, and if a call's too much, they'd probably prefer a text. You can't play dumb to what plays in the new frontier. Then I came across the name of Mike Tate, but calling him now's too many years too late. How fun the party would be if he and Andy were here. They'd give anyone a run for their money. They'd do something weird and say something funny, like how would you like to see me pull a bunny out of your cat? I mean hat. But it's okay, you know I understand how God lays waste to best laid plans. Maybe I'll swing by the lion and raise up a stout, catch a song or two by the band on the stage where those dudes used to stand. I wonder if cursing's allowed where they are now. At least I know what to wish for when I blow the candles out. It hasn't been a year just yet, but it's been years in the making, and I can't forget every damn thing I did to make her cry. Now I've lots of time to think by myself, with memories I've just gotta put up on a shelf. I keep coming back to the well when I know it's dry. If I could lift a little weight from my shoulders, I'd have taken more time that night when I told her, when she asked if I was sure it was over, and I said, anyway, it's okay, you know I understand. God could care less for best laid plans. When I tell my tale, there's parts that I leave right out. We can only do the best we can, and I'm worth no less than any other man. If those words can make a home in my heart, just like they do in my mouth, then I won't wish for much when I blow the candle.